So, Sally, you are a speech and language therapist by background. Please tell us why you chose speech and language therapy as a career choice.
Well, my mum's a speech and language therapist, so I was exposed very early on, I think, to going on to things like support groups, stroke support groups, laryngectomy support groups. So I saw really early on that sort of ability that people in those roles have to journey alongside people at difficult points in their lives. So I think that was quite important. I think really the reason I chose speech and language therapy was because it was that perfect mixture of psychology, linguistics, and biology, and it brought all that together alongside working with people. So it just felt like a really natural sort of combination of all the things that I was interested in. And I have to say that has proved to be the case. I don't think there's any bit of speech and language therapy that isn't interesting and fascinating, whether that's communication or swallowing.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And if you could tell us a bit about your career journey.
Yeah, so I trained at Manchester University, and then I was very lucky to get a rotational post when I started work. So I really did get to sample all the different aspects of, working with children, working in a hospital, working with people in the community, people with learning disabilities, with people with acquired disorders. So that gave me a really good start. And as I say, I don't think there is an area that isn't interesting. So I ended up working with adults with learning disabilities and adults with acquired disorders for a while, and then sort of gradually found my way into first sort of traumatic brain injury and then stroke. So my interest was definitely adults. I think along the way, I also realised that I was really interested in the sort of development of people, training, education, students, that kind of thing. And that sort of ran alongside all of that for a long time. And I sort of found myself in more sort of managerial and leadership roles. I have to say, I don't think I've ever had a career plan. A lot of things have just been taking those opportunities as they come along and thinking, well, that looks interesting, I could try that. So I had a really enjoyable time sort of being involved with leading teams and seeing that development of other people. And then last year, the opportunity, or the beginning of this year, the opportunity came up to apply for the AHP lead role for practice learning and education. And I did just think, I don't think I'll get that. I don't think that's going to be within my sort of grasp. But actually, it did bring together a lot of those different elements that perhaps I hadn't sort of always been aware of as being such sort of strong threads. So I think it was a case of seeing an opportunity to do something a bit different that used some of those many transferable skills that AHPs have, and then just taking the leap. And that's where I've ended up.
Great. And if you were to look back, what lessons would you share with your younger self, and what advice do you have for early career AHPs?
I think I would say try and look around you, look ahead, look out for the new thing, the next thing, the interesting thing, and just even when clinical work's really full on, and I know everyone's under such a lot of pressure, just keep your eyes out for those opportunities. That might just be a really interesting journal article. It might be a chance to shape a service the way a patient's talk to you about something that's not working, but just always kind of be scanning around and looking for ways that you could do things a bit differently, or develop things, or plan things. And those things might be quite small opportunities, but there's always something new to do or something to be involved with, and that you don't know where that will take you. So I think that's probably a little bit like the kind of jigsaw of my career to this point, is just following up different leads and seeing where you end up. I would also say, don't wait till you feel you're completely ready or prepared. I know when I first started work, I thought, no, everybody will realise that I don't know what I'm doing, and I think I still feel a bit like that, but it's a case of just getting on and doing it. You actually put on that game face. You think, not entirely sure, but I'm going to give it a go. So don't wait till you think you're completely ready to try things. Just get some advice and go for it. And then I think the final thing, which has come to me more over the last few years, I think, is like the importance of listening, really, really listening to your patients, their families, your colleagues, and through that sort of really kind of sort of fascination with how people think, I think people can come up with their own solutions, and you can actually really find ways to develop things by looking at the potential that we've all got inside ourselves, I think. And that sounds a bit woolly, but it's that sort of sense of we kind of know what we need to do, and we can find those sort of answers around us. And that actually, if we can really listen to our patients and our colleagues and our sort of the people we work with, then there is so much that we can be doing, and actually that's where we get those great ideas for the things that we're going to do next. So I think that's really powerful.
That's great advice. Thank you.
Thanks, Rebecca.